I had dreamed of this land since I was a boy. 50 acres of rugged mountain terrain, towering pines, and a crystal-clear stream cutting through the middle. It wasn't just dirt and trees, it was my sanctuary. After years of saving and hard work, I finally purchased it. Before deployment, I built a small cabin, nothing fancy, just a roof, 4 walls, and a porch overlooking the valley. Every nail I drove in carried the promise of a future. Then my unit was called overseas. A full year of service. I kissed my land goodbye, locked the cabin door, and left it in the hands of fate. When I returned, everything had changed. Instead of untouched wilderness, I was greeted by a subdivision. Cookie-cutter homes lined what used to be my stream. Concrete driveways cut into the earth where wildflowers once grew. And the worst part? There was no sign of my cabin, it had been bulldozed. I thought I was in the wrong place. But no. My land had been stolen. Sold. Transformed. And the signature on the paperwork? The local HOA. I walked into the HOA office trembling with rage. Their headquarters was a sleek little building in the middle of what used to be my forest. The walls smelled of fresh paint, the kind of smugness only money could buy. Behind the desk sat Linda, the HOA president. Late 50s, sharp bob haircut, pearls, and the kind of smile that could curdle blood. "You must be the soldier," she said, barely glancing up. "I'm the owner," I snapped, slamming my deed onto her desk. "This land is mine. You had no right to sell it." Linda leaned back, smirking. "Oh, don't be dramatic. You abandoned it. You were gone for a year. The community needed this development. Think of all the families we've given homes to. You destroyed my cabin." I roared. Her smirk deepened. "Collateral damage. Besides, even if you take this to court, you'll lose. The homes are built, families live here. No judge is going to side with one man over dozens of families." I realized something in that moment. Linda didn't just think she was untouchable. She thought she had already won. But she had underestimated the wrong man. I started with the county office. Paper trails. Title deeds. Property records. That's when I discovered the depth of the rot. The HOA had forged signatures, manipulated dates, and even slipped bribes to certain county officials. It was a web of corruption so thick that every lawyer I called refused to touch it. "You'll never win," one of them said. "It's too tangled. By the time this goes to court, the HOA will bankrupt you with fees." I nearly lost hope, until I remembered something. I wasn't just a landowner. I was a soldier. And the land they stole wasn't just recorded in the county's books, it was also documented federally, because I had claimed veteran housing credits when I bought it. Which meant the theft didn't just violate civil law. It violated federal law. I called in a favor from my commanding officer. Within weeks, military legal teams were investigating. JAG lawyers pored over the forged deeds. Federal marshals began collecting evidence. The HOA thought this was just a local issue. But now, it was a federal case. The day the hammer dropped was one I'll never forget. It was a quiet morning in the subdivision. Kids rode bikes on sidewalks that used to be my hiking trails. Sprinklers hissed where wild deer once grazed. Families sipped coffee on porches, completely unaware that their world was about to change. Then the SUVs rolled in. Black, unmarked, tinted windows. Military trucks followed. The ground shook under their tires. Federal marshals stepped out first, followed by uniformed officers. They spread like a tide through the neighborhood. Residents froze in their driveways, clutching their mugs, whispering nervously. A commanding voice echoed through a megaphone. This land was obtained through fraudulent sale and forgery. Effective immediately, all property reverts to its legal owner, Sergeant David Carter. Gasps. Shouts. Confusion. Linda stormed out of her HOA office, screeching like a banshee. You can't do this. These homes are occupied. This is a community. A marshal stepped forward, papers in hand. Not anymore. You're under arrest for fraud, forgery, and racketeering. The sight of Linda being handcuffed on her own perfect lawn was the sweetest thing I had ever seen. It didn't end quickly. The subdivision didn't vanish overnight. Families were relocated, compensated by federal insurance. They weren't the enemy, they were victims of Linda's greed. But the HOA board? They weren't so lucky. Each member faced charges. Their bank accounts were frozen. Their assets seized. Linda herself faced prison time. As for the developer who worked with them, his license was revoked. His empire crumbled. And me? I rebuilt. My cabin rose again, stronger, bigger, more beautiful than before. The American flag flew high above my porch, a symbol not just of my service, but of my victory. I often sit there at sunset, sipping coffee, watching the light fade over the valley. The HOA thought they could erase my legacy while I served my country. But in the end, I erased theirs.